Next up, Senator Fischer.
Thank you, Senator Klobuchar. Mr. Benyon, Nebraska has taken significant steps to enhance the security of its election systems and equipment. Can you tell us more about these improvements and the threats that the improvements might help to mitigate?
Thank you, Senator Fischer. As I described in my testimony, our first thing was to lock down our voter registration system, not only on the front end, but the back end, as that's the most valuable data we have as election officials. So using multi-factor authentication was the start. Having a detection device on the back end that's been replicated in 7 different states was the first step. In 2020, when we implemented new election equipment statewide, which was the first time we did since 2006, we did it in a closed-loop system in which no aspect of the ballot counting or reporting process is connected to the internet. And that was very important because, as we mentioned, you can't hack paper. So when you have a paper ballot from the start to the end, it provided confidence that no one could hack into our election process during the ballot counting process. Our expanded manual audit in 2022 was also a very important part of our strategy after 2020 to give our counties the data. Each county could have at least one precinct that they manually audited, so they knew that their ballot counting equipment matched what the election results that were certified. And so that 3-prong approach has added a lot of strength and a lot of data, which is important for our election officials to take back to their constituents.
Thank you. Mr. Farley, in your testimony, you mentioned a need for election-related cybersecurity assistance for local election officials. What are the unique challenges that local election officials face in mitigating cybersecurity threats?
Senator, I believe the biggest issue that we have, of course, when we receive emails, whether that be any communication from voters, we have to, if there's an attachment, whether it be a PDF file or, we have to open those attachments. So phishing attempts are really something that's a concern or that we're really guarded against because we really have to examine every single and analyze every email because we don't know exactly, but we cannot keep a person from requesting a absentee ballot or a change of address information or notification that they have moved outside of their the county or their polling location. So that's the biggest concern for us is really the safeguarding and making sure that we're being able to mitigate any and all phishing attempts.
The federal government does provide some assistance in identifying and mitigating the cybersecurity threats to election officials, primarily in the form of information sharing. So, Mr. Farley, can you tell us how information sharing could work better for local election officials, especially those that are in smaller election jurisdictions?
ISAC is a great tool. I think a lot of times if it's a smaller jurisdictions, they need to make sure that they utilize those resources that are available. And so I think a lot of that in Tennessee, our Secretary of State's office does a tremendous job. We have some counties that are so small, they only have 6,000, 10,000 residents in the entire county, whereas you have metropolitan Nashville, Shelby County, and Memphis that have 800,000 registered voters. So a lot of making sure that they communicate that information through ISAC or CISA and those organizations and making sure that the people on the small jurisdictions understand that's available to them.
And Mr. Benya, I understand that election officials often rely in part on federal agencies to share information about threats to election administration. Can you talk about your experiences with federal information sharing related to cybersecurity threats and what you think needs to be improved there?
Nebraska is in Region 7 of CISA, and we have a very good relationship with our counterparts with CISA. They help us a great deal with information sharing and providing assessments to our local county officials, and I'm very thankful for their efforts. Most election officials have a security clearance, so we can hear information on a federal level. And I think CISA has heard from election officials that we would like to have more information that we could use on a day-to-day basis, how we can mitigate those challenges that we see from an election standpoint. So the more information that can trickle down to us that is actionable, it will be the most helpful.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much.